Hey, you all, welcome back to the channel. Hey, guys, today we want to talk about Electroneum, and what I like to think of is the road less traveled, a different road to mass adoption. So, in thinking about mass adoption, what I've discovered is that mass adoption doesn't always occur the way you think it will. I think comparably, it's akin to when people go viral. If you've ever asked someone what it took to go viral, they generally don't give you a specific answer. Um, and that I don't, maybe that's because they don't know, maybe because there is no specific answer. But generally, it's a very difficult question for them to answer. They don't really seem to know how they did it. The next part is there may not be a specific answer. As to say, there may not be any kind of blueprint or plan for them going viral. And I'm starting to think this is similar to what is probably going to happen in the cryptocurrency space with mass adoption, and when a lot of people start to use your tokens to the point, it's just viable money. And when we think about the cryptocurrency space, uh, a lot of topics come up. People go, well, we're trying to discover many uses for the blockchains, but the decentralized applications that are being used, and many of these applications that are being proposed, what we do full well know at this point in time is many of them aren't being used. There doesn't seem to be a great demand for them, people coming out and using them. And so that, kind of makes one think, well, what is the best uses of blockchain? And I've discussed this with some developers, and some of them just simply say the only use for the blockchain really is having this ledger that you're able to identify and compare data with, that can't be deleted. And the next part is more or less to deal with monetary policy, right? It's this the consensus ledger, and the dealing with monetary policy, how to transfer value back and forth to one another, right? And so, we kind of go on from that place trying to find more uses. And some people are finding many other uses for the blockchain. It's a long list of them. But if we had to narrow it down to, the general idea of what seems to really work for mass people using the blockchain, is going to probably come down to transferring value, money, and this consensus ledger. Um, and so a lot of people came into cryptocurrency, uh, and Bitcoin blew up. But if you look at the early days of Bitcoin, the people that came into Bitcoin, many of the ideas were about freedom. It really wasn't so much about speculating and making money, getting rich. I don't remember the early days of Bitcoin, and I'm sure many of you can agree with this. You don't remember the early days of Bitcoin about people getting rich. I think a lot of people were just coming into Bitcoin for freedom, trying to keep the money they had from being stolen, or through government policies being inflated and taxed. And so a lot of people was coming in to protect their money and to have the freedom to transfer money around the globe, the freedom to control your own money without the value being stolen. That was my idea about it. It was less about, can I become a Bitcoin millionaire or this cryptocurrency millionaire? Giving value back to people and not stealing from them. A lot of reason people are poor has a lot to do with other people stealing from them, right? It's not just they don't work or they don't have jobs. It's always somebody who's in some type of area, a situation where they can restrict people, where they can buy up all the land and control all the jobs and keep you from going out and making livings. And so it's a lot of that in the mix as well. It's just not this simple idea of people that aren't able to be of value and produce. So a lot of people are just trying to protect the value they already have, right? So Electroneum is allowing a way to give value back to the people so that they can be in situations where they can protect their value and have value one day, right? I think what's happening in the cryptocurrency space is we've kind of got caught up in the get rich quick idea a lot. And getting on the road to mass adoption, it might not just happen like how a lot of people are proposing, which is build this technology, they come, everybody jumps in because it's the technology of the future, everybody pours money into it, and we all get rich. Maybe it's a little more simple than that. Maybe it's people really recognize the value that you put into, or the value that you see in people, and that the blockchain and moving this value is but an expression of the value we already have. You know, many of you who watch the channel know I'm working on a project, Bitcoin MYK, that I feel is expressing that value to move value from people, not, not and to create a way forward, not the other way around, where value is in the value of money itself, or rocks, or metals, and things like that. With Electroneum, it's on the same road. It's giving value back to the people through the technology of being able to transfer this value back and forth. And it's doing that by going in these unbanked lands and unbanked regions where people have value, but they're oppressed from moving that value, right? That's what's going on. It's not that the value is outside of them. The value is inside of them. And we're looking at this from a human perspective of what is valuable. So the value comes out of them. What I mean by the road less traveled in cryptocurrency is getting to that point where we actually identify with this and see this, right? Where we see that the value comes from the people, and we're moving that value, right? A video came out today on the All About Tech channel, and it talked about a children's book called Melon's children's book, and it had to do with the teachings of a Oregon family, where the grandmother of the author taught them how to farm, plant watermelon seeds. And I found that very interesting because on my farm, I plant watermelon seeds, and I've put up some videos where you can kind of see my watermelon patch. But it goes further than that, to where there's this fundraising campaign where families of shootings, mass shootings that have happened across the United States, from Columbine to Sandy Hooks, all these horrific atrocities that happen through gun violence throughout the United States, is now a conduit to where this children's book can help to end such horrors. And what's so interesting about it and what's so important about it is they're only you can actually help this fundraising campaign with your Electroneum, and Electroneum is the only cryptocurrency that the author will accept in order to help to fund the project to stop this, because he wants to donate 100% of the proceeds to these atrocities and horrors that have happened across the United States through the gun violence. Now, this all ties into what I'm saying about the road to mass adoption not being maybe what we think it is, right? It might happen different from building technology and just getting people to invest in the technology and millions of people using the technology. It may actually just come out of pure humanity, mass adoption, to how we're using this technology to lift the human spirit and shine the spotlight on we are the important, valuable people in this space. You know, what happens, unfortunately, is in this casino ride we've been on, people come into the cryptocurrency space and they invest a lot of money. Some of them invest more than they should. Some take out loans, thinking that this is going to maybe pay for their kids' college or get them in a position, finally get them out of a bad situation in life they were in. They come in, they lose 90% of their value. And the way that the blockchain is set up, the exchanges are set up, and how we're moving value as we're trying to determine how valuable these products are and where the true value lies, and we're saying it's in the technology. But as we go along that road, people, when they lose this value, they tend to identify with the value, so they don't go, I it's not X amount of Bitcoin were lost in value, is that my value was lost, right? Because they've identified the value of the markets with whom they are, instead of going, the value comes out of me. Thus, if the blockchain could represent that, there would be a much better receival of the blockchain and cryptocurrencies. And I think that would actually help us get closer to mass adoption than where I think we're at now. Because right now, guys, I really do believe we're a million miles away from mass adoption because of our approach. It's been the wrong approach from the very beginning. This was all about keeping people from taking your value. I don't think it was just about trying to get people rich, although prosperity does come out of when people are not stealing from you. But so that prosperity is a byproduct of the freedom that I think originally was the idea behind the blockchain. So to sum it up, guys, the whole point I'm making is that these different approaches or different ideas about what we should do to gain mass attention and mass value, you know, it might not be going the traditional routes we've taken. You know, we might have to do something totally different from how our money system has valued people over the millennium. And it may be things like this. You know, it may be courses like this. It may be more of these courses. Now, you know, it's good that Electroneum could prosper from these things. But I would like to think of it more as lifting the human spirit to the point where we're using this technology to make our world a better place. And then looking at like the shootings, the mass shootings across the world, focusing our attention on things like that to make the world a better place. I think, and using conduits like blockchain and technology, I think what can happen for us is that at some point, eventually, by us taking our attention off, you know, just, you know, what the value of these things going up and down is, and really putting a use to the technology and focusing on solving problems, the actual problems is solving, you know, real problems that matter. I'm not talking about playing games or playing dice games. I'm talking about real value to humans that matter, that really change their lives. And that will make them say, hey, what is that over here? We really need to take a look at that, because how they're moving money and how they're helping people and how they're helping the world, that's a value to me. Not a dice game, not a role-playing game, not a prediction market software, you know, and I'm not trying to pick on any coins, but I'm just trying to drive that point there, guys. And so, guys, very interesting. But that's all I want to say about it. Ellen Mellon's children book. You can watch the All About Tech channel. They go in great description how this photography director of major motion pictures like Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, will be narrating a children's book you can purchase with Electroneum, and it goes to help gun violence all across America and stop these horrific things from happening. But guys, that's all I want to say in today's video. Guys, if you like content like this, don't forget to like, subscribe. And until next time, take care.